Alright, you guys, welcome back to another episode of J&L Garage. Today is going to be something a little bit different, but the same at the same time. We are putting another leveling kit on another Dodge. This is my buddy's Dodge here. It is indeed a two-wheel drive, but he doesn't like the lowered look, so we're going with the leveled look. And today I'm going to be showing you guys how to put on the Supreme Suspensions two-wheel drive leveling kit. Pretty simple as far as the process, but I'm going to show you guys if there's any kinks in their instructions. This is the coil spacer here. As far as I know, Supreme Suspensions is the only guys making 2009 and up two-wheel drive 1500 leveling kits, and this is going to be the first two-wheel drive with a leveling kit that I've seen ever. So this is going to be the very first. And then I've also got something pretty cool coming up later tonight. I've already had my Red Bull, so I got the energy, got it pumping. I'm in Yoda's shop again today. I made sure to give myself plenty of room in the front. Had to back it up real tight to that back door, but the truck's not going to be moving. It's going to be stationary the entire time, so that's going to be fine. We're only going to be working on the front today. There's nothing going in the back, and this thing's going to be looking pretty nice whenever we get done. You can see it does have the pawpaw, and my friend, obviously, you know, my age, he's a year younger than me, definitely is ready to see this thing looking nice and level. And we're definitely going to get it there for him. So today, I'm going to be showing you guys how to put the leveling kit on a 2013 Dodge Ram 1500. This should be viable for any of the year models from 09 and up, as far as I know, as far as two-wheel drive goes. Supreme Suspensions may say otherwise as far as the kit. It definitely will cover all of the process and the steps that goes with their kit. And so I'm going to start with the passenger side, getting it all broke down, and I'm going to show you guys just how in-depth you have to do a coil spacer lift, because it is pretty lengthy. I'm thinking it's going to take me about 3 to 4 hours, and it is already 8 o'clock. Got off work, came straight here, and we're fishing to see if we can get this thing looking good. Stay tuned. So this side was pretty much trial and error, figuring out what I needed to do to get this side done. This side is finished, and now I'm fishing to move over to the other side, and then I can show you guys the step-to-step process. It was pretty hard figuring out how to get the spring compressed with this junky spring compressor that I got from O'Reilly's, but figured out a pretty easy way to get it done, and I'm going to show you guys on the other side. Alright, so first things first on this side, definitely you have to take your wheel off, then go ahead and take your brake caliper loose, and make sure to secure it with some kind of metal tie. I've got some really stiff metal wire here, just putting a hole of the frame, holding up the brake caliper. And then next things next, you need to go ahead and pop off your tie rod, and then go ahead and take the nut off of the upper ball joint. Alright, so I forgot to mention that the brake caliper is 2 13/16 bolts, and that is all to take off that. And next, you're going to want to take your shock off, or that's the way I did it anyways. It's a 3/4 nut up top, and the hold on the top of the threads is a 9mm, and then on the bottom you just have 2 1/2-inch bolts that mount side by side, and then that should slide out the bottom. Noise, I've got a torpedo heater going because it is about 40 degrees outside, and it's not much warmer in here. Next up is the tie rod and the ball joint, and then we should be ready to separate these two and the sway bar link, and then should be ready to lower the A-arm so that way we can drop the coil spring out and get ready to install the coil spring spacer. Okay, so once you have knocked the upper ball joint out, you want to push the A-arm down just as far as you can, take the spring out, sit your coil spring spacer on top, and then sit it back in there. Now if you manage to get, somehow unluckily, get the exact same coil spring compressor as me, which has got the 2 teeth on the end and then it's got a fork on top, this is the way I recommend doing it. It's a lot safer. You've got a hole up top on the 2-wheel drives that you can run your center bolt through, and then you just hook your teeth on your coil spring, and then as you tighten it, then it will compress your coil spring, and then you can, the main part is making sure that you line your spring back up with the rubber boot inside your A-arm. It's got indentions in it everywhere to show you exactly where it goes. And so we just used a really long pry bar to make sure to pry the A-arm down. And then mine uses a 13/16, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that's right. I'll take it back. And also use a crescent wrench just to hold this here. And then get your socket on top. And then this is better as a 2-man job. And then as you tighten it, it will, and you hold it with your crescent wrench. This keeps this from spinning, the crescent wrench does, and then it allows you to put as much pressure as you need to up here to compress the spring. And it will take quite a few turns to get it, especially on this one because it's fine threaded. But once you compress the spring and pop it back in there, it's just reverse from there. Once you get the spring in there and you jack the jack up to where it's back on the spring, then you will eventually relieve the pressure off this, and I'll try to show you guys that in a little bit as we get this put back together. And then from there it's just putting it all back together, which isn't that hard. And so I'm going to go ahead and get this compressed and get ready to put the coil spring in, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like when I'm done. Okay, so this is what I was talking about with holding the crescent wrench, and then I'm working this up top, and then it's just going to slowly compress the spring while using the frame as the pressure point to compress it. Much safer than trying to use this the way they recommend or the instructions say. The fork's just going to jump off because the fork needs a flat surface to sit on. And so this is how I'm compressing the spring on this 2-wheel drive Ram 1500, and this is definitely how I recommend it. It's a lot easier this way as well as far as taking everything off. So definitely recommend using it this way. Alright you guys, so got it put all back together. Only thing left to do is put the wheel and tire back on. Be sure to make sure all of your nuts and bolts are tight. 2 13/16 on the upper ball joint and the outer tie rod, and then you've got on the sway bar is going to be a 5/8 up top, and then you're going to need a 15mm to hold down here. And then up top on your shock is going to be a 3/4, and then on the bottom you got 2 halves, and then you got, of course, the 2 3/4 on the brake caliper. Another thing I want to mention, you have a ABS sensor right here. It's simply pull the red tab out slightly and then press down on the inside right at the end of my thumb, and this will unplug, and that will give you enough slack to the knuckle because it's going to be completely detached, and then that's going to give you plenty of slack at the knuckle, so that way you can really press that A-arm down to put the coil spring back in. But that pretty much does it up for this install. I'm going to try and get some after shots sometime or another. I'll get my buddy to send me some pictures, try to put it towards the end of the video. But that's pretty much it as far as a 3-inch leveling kit on a 09 to 16 2-wheel drive Ram 1500. And do I? Oh yeah, definitely do a front end alignment. Had Yoda's help on this one. Big shout out to Yoda for helping me get all this knocked out tonight. even though we got school and work in the morning. That's pretty much it. We're going to put the wheels and tires back on, sit it on the ground, see if it rides terrible. Alright, you guys, so I am currently cleaning up all my tools, and another Dodge successfully done. I've got, even though I am not sponsored by them by no means, I've got to give another shout out to Supreme Suspensions for just making some high quality for the price for a lift kit, or a leveling kit in this case. But anyways, I got all my stuff in his truck, and then some of my stuff laying out right here. I also forgot to mention, these little rubber caps are on top of your coil springs. Take these off. You don't need these. Those are really just used to reduce squeaking. Once you get that coil spring pressed in there with that aluminum coil spacer, you're not going to have a squeaking problem, I don't think. It's going to be pressed up in there too tight. But this thing's done, and I'm hoping that this truck's going to be on here a few more times other than this. He doesn't have a whole lot of plans for it. Like I said, just kind of a leveling kit. It's a two-wheel drive. He plans on upgrading vehicles later on in life, as he stated it. But that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Got it on, got the coil spacers on, no rusted bolts, or no seized bushings, or bolts seized in bushings on this truck. Obviously, it's only 4 years old, so we're not going to have that problem on it. This thing looks awesome, and it sounds good too. I'm definitely going to try and remember to get a good exhaust sound from this thing whenever he goes to pull out. But I've got to get a jacket on. It is freezing cold outside, and I've also got to get this truck backed out and get the brakes pumped back up, so that way he can get this thing on the road and go and show it off tomorrow. But that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Thanks for tuning back in with J&L Garage. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please, please, please don't feel afraid to leave a like, and maybe even subscribe if you want to see some more like this. I'm looking at doing some more lift kits and some more mechanic work like this with Yoda involved. JP wasn't able to make it out to this one because our work schedules are kind of tight right now. But hope you guys enjoyed it, and as always, have a good one.